Hi, it's Patrick Hutzel from Intensive Care at Home, where we provide tailor-made solutions for long-term ventilated adults and children with tracheostomies by improving their quality of life, and where we also provide tailor-made solutions to hospitals and intensive care units to save money and resources whilst providing quality care. In the last blog I shared is looking after long-term ventilated patients with tracheostomies in intensive care, quote-unquote best practice. You can check out last week's blog by clicking on the link below this video. In this week's blog I want to look into how to be more client and family focused when looking after long-term ventilated adults and children with tracheostomies. When it comes to providing the best care and treatment to the growing numbers of long-term ventilated adults and children with tracheostomies, it always stands out to me that the majority of the patients are still in the wrong environment. Intensive care just simply isn't the right place to be for somebody who's on a ventilator with tracheostomy. The fact of the matter is that current intensive care paradigms in Australia still suggest that the only exit for a patient in intensive care is to either go to a ward or go to heaven. It's very outdated thinking, and it just goes to show how uninformed most intensive care units, as well as patients and their families, still are. People simply don't know what they don't know. It always boggles my mind how many long-term ventilated adults and children with tracheostomies are unnecessarily occupying intensive care beds where specialized intensive home care is appropriate. Providing intensive home care when it comes to this very vulnerable patient group, as well as making sure that families of this patient group can enjoy an improved quality of life at home instead of intensive care, is way more client and family focused compared to what current and outdated intensive care paradigms suggest. The quality of life, and in some instances the quality of end of life, for long-term ventilated adults and children with tracheostomies in intensive care in a home care environment with the right support and the right mindset is what makes all the difference. Intensive care units can never offer the same quality of life for long-term ventilated adults and children with tracheostomies compared to a home care environment. Intensive care units can never offer the same cost effectiveness compared to home care for long-term ventilated adults and children with tracheostomies. Intensive care at home therefore is offering this client and family focus and is highly specialized in this area when it comes to long-term ventilated adults and children with tracheostomies in their own home. Our concept is proven with our clients, and it's a concept that has been successful in many European countries for nearly 2 decades. Intensive home care provides win-win solutions by improving the quality of life for long-term ventilated adults and children with tracheostomies, by maximizing cost effectiveness, and by helping intensive care units to free up their expensive, precious and in-demand intensive care beds. What are your thoughts? Do you think that treating medically stable long-term intensive care patients in intensive care is patient and family focused? What about proven alternatives that are already working? Leave your comments on the blog. We're also currently hiring enthusiastic and experienced intensive care nurses with critical care certificate for ventilated clients in Melbourne. We would also like to hear from you if you have a minimum of 2 years pediatric ICU experience, as we have opportunities there as well. For more information, check out our career section or contact me on 041 094 2230 or send me an email to patrick@intensivecareathome.com.au. That's Patrick just with a K at the end. If you want to know more about if your loved one is ventilated in intensive care, if you want to find out how we can help you take your loved one home on a ventilator, you can contact me as well. Thank you for tuning into this week's blog. This is Patrick Hutzel from Intensive Care at Home.